Hey guys, what's going on? Mike the Caveman Q here again from Paleo Problem Island, MikeTheCaveman.com. And today's question is, why is white rice healthier than brown rice? I'm sure you're saying, what? Yes. Now, oftentimes you may hear me talking about this, and the fact of the matter is, white rice is healthier than brown rice. Why? Well, there's a number of reasons. So, first of all, rice, of course, is a grain, so it's not the best choice overall. Now, when it comes to grains, the biggest problem has to do with the prolamines. Now, the most popularly known one, of course, is gliadin, which then turns to gluten in the body. Now, that one is overtly deleterious to people with celiac disease and possibly to people with non-celiac gluten sensitivities, but we've talked about maybe it's really just the FODMAPs. Either way, the fact of the matter is, all grains contain a prolamine. So while rice doesn't contain gluten, it does contain orzenin, which is another type of prolamine, one that's rich in glutamate/glutamine and proline. That's not to say that it is inherently dangerous, but if it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck, or maybe just a confused goose. I don't know. Either way, because of the orzenin, that's one thing you might want to watch out for. But more importantly, that rice is a rich source of phytic acid. That phytic acid chelates, it locks up or binds the micronutrients in that rice, making the vitamins and minerals less bioavailable. When it comes to grains, and in this case rice, there are three main components. There's the bran, there's the germ, and there's the endosperm. White rice is a type of rice that has had the bran and the germ removed. So the oils you find, particularly in the germ, are very oxidizable. They can very easily go rancid. When we're talking about the bran, a lot of times we're talking about the fiber. Everybody says, yay, we need fiber. And yes, fiber is definitely important to an extent. But there are plenty of other sources of fiber. That bran, though, is also where you'll find that phytic acid in most amounts of it. Moreover, it's also where you'll find the arsenic. What? Yes, heavy metal contamination, particularly in rice, is somewhat of a problem. And unfortunately, most of that arsenic and other heavy metals are found in the bran. So by removing them, you deal with a little bit of that issue. Concentrated brown rice products make it even worse. On the other hand, removing that bran and the germ and having white rice, then soaking it, sprouting it, and possibly even fermenting it will remove most of those issues. It will remove that phytic acid, and it will go and it will lower the heavy metal contamination. What you're left with that white rice is basically just the endosperm, which is mostly just starch. Now, if you already suffer from metabolic syndrome, making the bulk of your diet come from starches is probably not a good idea. However, if you're somebody who's already relatively metabolically healthy and or rather active, then the occasional white rice is not going to be a problem. It is a safe starch. That being said, the way you make it better, like we said before, soak it, sprout it, ferment it. From there, you can cook and cool it and create that resistant starch we talked about. So, by cooking it ahead of time and then cooling it thereafter, you're actually going to create resistant starch type 3, retrograded starch, and what that's going to allow is for you to feed your bacteria while reducing the caloric load of that rice. The biggest problem, of course, though, is that if you're eating that white rice at the expense of something else that's more nutrient dense. But in the context of a highly nutrient dense diet, not a problem. So if we're talking about some quality grass-fed beef, possibly even some liver, that'd be amazing. If we're talking about that fish we talked about yesterday, so if we're doing it as a sushi, great. That rice has been cooked, cooled, and you're getting some quality, ideally wild-caught fish, no problem. If you are an incredibly active person, either at your job or you're working out all the time, having that rice around time you work out or after work, in the case of a job, no problem. But still, just make sure you're preparing it properly. So your biggest takeaways for today: you want to avoid the brown rice because you don't want that germ in the bran. You don't want the excessive amounts of fiber that can cause damage. You don't want those prolamines. You don't want that phytic acid, and you don't want those heavy metals. If you do choose to have it, make sure you're preparing it properly. Soak it, sprout it, ferment it, and cook and cool it to get that resistant starch. And, most importantly, make sure you're choosing organic rice. And you're ideally having it around the times of activity, whether it be workout or very hard labor. So, that being said, hopefully this helped you out. You know what to do. Like and subscribe down below. Share it with your friends. Head over to Instagram and Twitter and follow me at Mike the Caveman. Head over to Facebook over at Paleo Problem Island. And of course, over on MikeTheCaveman.com. That being said, go out. Maybe when the sun comes out in a little bit again. Get some exercise in. Maybe have a little white rice. Cook it, cool it. Add a little fat. I'll see you tomorrow.